This pandemic has been littered with broken promises.
We will have a test, track and trace operation that will be world-beating.
We don't want to ban Christmas, to cancel it. It remains the case that schools are safe.
But when it comes to getting people vaccinated, the government appears to be taking a more cautious approach in announcing targets or making predictions about the success of the rollout. Why might they be trying to hide their progress? Here's what we know. Firstly, we've ordered lots of vaccines. 367 million doses of 7 types of vaccine, in fact. In theory, it's enough to serve the adult UK population of 53 million at least thrice over. However, just 3, Pfizer, AstraZeneca and Moderna, have finished their clinical trials. Between them, they offer 157 million doses, still more than enough to cover the population. The difficulty is the pipeline, how quickly they're delivered and how quickly the NHS can dole them out. Earlier this month, the government finally set some targets.
By February 15th, the NHS is committed to offering a vaccination to everyone in the top 4 priority groups.
Everyone in these top 4 priority groups should get their first jab by February the 15th. Care home residents and workers, people over 70, those who are clinically extremely vulnerable, and health and care workers. By the end of April, the target is for 9 groups. They include all those over the age of 50 and younger at-risk groups. After that, the order of priority is to be decided. In the early weeks of the programme, there's been great concern at the pace of rollout. As the new year began, 1 million doses had been given on the ground. But it's ramping up quickly. Last week, 2 million people had received their first dose. But now, almost 5 million people have been jabbed. But until last week, what we've been unable to find out is how many doses were due to be delivered by certain dates. That is, until the government in Scotland published its schedules.
Over the weekend, Scotland received our first supplies of the vaccine against COVID.
Scotland gets an 8% share of the UK stocks, making it possible to calculate what's due our way. The schedules suggest 1.2 million for Scotland by the start of February. That's 15 million doses in total for the UK. By early March, it's around 2.9 million, the equivalent of 33 million doses in the UK. And by May, the figure is around 5.5 million, or about 62 million in total for the UK. At this rate, we can see how the whole adult population could be jabbed by the summer. At first glance, the figures suggest all our problems are over. So why is the government hiding it? According to these schedules, around 12 million doses should already be in this country, but that compares with 5.5 million doses which have been given out to around 5 million people, including some second jabs. Ministers have suggested that the government doesn't want to be too open about the supplies coming in case it puts stocks in jeopardy.
So it's not about wanting to withhold information from a committee, although there is a consideration here because the whole world is looking to acquire vaccines at the moment.
And the companies have said they've been asked not to reveal the daily schedules and locations in case it compromises security. But privately, Whitehall sources say they also don't want to repeat mistakes made during the early stages of the pandemic of chasing too many targets. The 2 main manufacturers, AstraZeneca and Pfizer, have both admitted to some delays in their delivery schedules so far. And the government is wary of the complexities of what's been dubbed the biggest homeland operation in peacetime. We're already seeing a postcode lottery when it comes to delivery. There are other concerns in play as well. There are fears that if people start celebrating prematurely, we could end up back where we started, given that we only know vaccines protect from severe illness and death and not their impact on transmission. Which is why, despite promising figures, ministers are reluctant to set themselves up to fail.